Hi all. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about iteration statement. In our previous sessions, we have seen about control statement and also we have seen the types of control statement. We have conditional statement, iteration statement and jump statement. Conditional statement we have understood. Based on conditions, we will be executing our code. We have seen if else ladder, we have seen nested if, we have seen switch statements. Now from here, we are going to continue about iteration statement. Now iteration statement is nothing but if we want to run our code again and again, but if we want different values as our output, then we will be using this iteration statement. Basically, we are looping our code multiple times. Now here I am having one example. I am having statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 and statement 4. One by one, the code will be executed. But I want this statement 2 to be executed 50 times. So this statement 2, I cannot copy and paste 50 times. Our code will become lengthy and also it will not look good. Okay, in any situation, it will not look good. So in such cases, we are going to iterate this statement. We are going to loop this statement multiple times. So that is the reason we use this iteration statement. Basically, we are looping the statement. So these are called as loops. Let's see types of loops. So basically, we are having 5 types of loops. We have for loop, for in loop, for off loop, while loop, and do while loop. For loop we are going to see in this session itself. Later on, we are going to see about rest of the loops. Now for loop is nothing but it will loop through a block of code number of times. If I want to run that second statement 50 times, I can use this for loop. This for in loop, objects we have already seen. We have completed everything about object. Inside object, we have property, value, key value pairs. If we want to iterate to that key, we will be using for in loop. And for off loop, if we are having any value which is iterable, like we are having string, if I am having numbers, for that kind of values, I can use for off loop, iterate one by one. Then while loop, inside while loop, it will be checking for the condition. If the condition is true, I will be coming inside the loop and accordingly I can execute that code multiple times. So in the same way, do while loop also will work in the same way. So once we learn about while loop and do while loop, you will understand the basic difference between them. So in this session, we are going to learn about for loop. I have opened my VS Code editor. This is our tutorial 48 and for loop syntax will be, we will write for. Inside this bracket, we will write expression 1, semicolon, expression 2 and finally expression 3. And whichever code I want to execute, I can just write inside this curly braces. Inside for loop, expression 1 will be executed one time before the execution of the code block. Now suppose I have given any value, basically it is for initialization. If I have given any value and using that value, whatever I am having inside the curly braces, that will be executed. Then expression 2 will define the condition, like whatever value I have given, second expression will be the condition for that. Okay, once we see practically, you will understand. This third expression is executed every time after the code block has been executed. First time, my expression 1, whatever value I am having, based on that, I will get the result. Then it will be checking for the condition. Then based on this expression tree, whatever value I am having, either increment or decrement, the value will be incremented and I will be getting the result. Okay, I will show you practically. I will come here. For here I'm just going to initialize, let I is equal to 0. I'll give I is less than 5, I plus plus. Inside this, I'm just going to write log. I will just print I. So my first value, I is equal to 0. We will initialize this one. Second expression is, we will give the condition to check. And third expression is either increment or decrement. So my value of I is 0. I is less than 5. It is true. So I will come inside this. 0 will be displayed. Now third expression, 0 plus 1, it will be incremented. Now the value of I is 1. So it will compare 1 is less than 5. Yes, it is. So it will print 1. Then again it will increment. I is 2 now. 2 is less than 5. 2 will be displayed. Again increment. 3 is less than 5. 3 will be displayed. Again increment 4. 4 is less than 5. 4 will be displayed. Again it will increment. Now my value of I becomes 5. I is equal to 5. 5 is less than 5. It becomes true. It will come outside of this loop. So the output will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. If I give here equal to, it will be checking for 5 as well. I will be giving here equal to. I will save this. You can see, because 5 is less than or equal to, but 5 is equal to, so I will get the result. If I give here 10, the value will be 0 to 10. If I remove here equal to, the value will be 0 to 9. Whatever number I am having, that minus 1, I will be getting the result. Now suppose here, first condition itself I am just going to fail. I will save this. Nothing will be displayed because my I is 11. 11 is less than 10. No, it is false. So I will come outside of this loop and I will not be getting anything. If I have written something here, I am outside of loop. This will be displayed. Whatever I am having inside this loop, that will not be displayed because this condition is failed. Now let's see some of the scenarios. Now when it comes to expression 1, it is optional. It is not compulsory that we have to write expression 1. That is the statement 1 inside for. Initializing inside the loop is not important. Basically, if we are using expression 1, it is used to initialize the variable. And also, we can give many values inside the expression 1, but we have to separate by comma. Okay, I will just show you the example. This is the basic example everybody will be using. Now, here also I can just write let I is equal to, let me write here 3. Now I can just write, but giving semicolon is important. This semicolon, here it will be referring to first expression. Now here I will write I is less than 10. Then I am just going to increment this value. I will copy, I will paste here. Now instead of this, I am just going to write good morning. I will save this. Now you can see 7 times. You can see the number here. 7 times I am getting the result. I have not written first expression. Directly I have initialized outside. But giving this semicolon is important. If I remove this one, I will be getting the error. So giving semicolon is very important here. And also I told you we can use multiple statements inside this expression 1. Now here I have initialized I is equal to 3. Now inside this I can just write, let me just create one variable here. Let data is equal to apple. I have just given this let data is equal to apple. Now inside this I will be giving length. Length is equal to data dot length. Okay, we have already seen this length property. What I have done, length is equal to data dot length, which will be giving me the result as 5. So length will be equal to 5. Now inside this, instead of giving this, I can just give here length. I will save this. Now 2 times I am having the data. because my length is 5. So here 5 will be displayed. So first time it will check 3 is less than 5. It is good morning will be printed. It will increment the value. 4 is less than 5. Again good morning will be printed. And finally I will be having 5. 5 is not less than 5. So only 2 times the data will be displayed. Now instead of displaying this one, let me just display the value of I itself. I will save this. You can see the value of I will be 3 and 4. If I give here 0, the value of I will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Inside this expression 1, multiple statements can be used but separating by comma. Okay, this belongs to expression 1. Now instead of initializing here, if I just initialize here, let I, but I have to separate by comma. I have to write here I is equal to 0. I will save this. Again, I will be getting the same result. So this is about for loop expression 1. Expression 1 is optional. If we don't write inside the loop, we can write outside that one. We can initialize like this. We can give multiple statements inside expression 1, but we have to separate by comma. And when we don't give this expression 1, before that we should always write this semicolon. And this is our expression 2 and this is our expression 3. Now when it comes to expression 2 is also optional, but if we omit expression 2, our loop will continue forever. It will not stop. And there are many disadvantages of that. It may crash our browser, it may crash our program, and also it will be using high memory. Our CPU utilization will also be high. So I always avoid omitting this expression 2 because our loop will continue forever. Previously, I have done this and my entire browser got crashed. So I had to face lot of difficulties. So again, I am not going to repeat this. I will not let my loop to run forever. Okay, so basically we have to give one condition so that our loop will stop at one particular time. So it is used to evaluate the condition of the initial variable. So if this expression returns true, the loop will start over and again. If it returns false, we will come outside of the loop. And this is what note I have written. If we remove the expression 2, at one point we have to provide the break inside the loop. Otherwise, our loop will never end. It will crash our browser. Okay, this is actually very true. It will definitely crash the browser if our loop continues forever. So that can be avoided using break as well. Now let's talk about expression 2. This is all about expression 1. In this only I will continue. Expression 2, we will be giving the condition here. Now here I can give length minus 1. I will save this. Now the result should be, now my length is 5, length minus 1, here I got 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3. The answer should be 0, 1, 2 and 3. Based on this condition, this will be executed. If this condition becomes false, I will come outside of this loop. Now I don't want to give this. Now I don't want to save also. I will just write here break. I will save this. It will run only once. I have given here break and also I don't need this one. Now I'll save this. Now whatever value I am having for I, that will be displayed here, but I have given here break. So that is the reason I have stopped looping. If I don't give break, my loop will continue forever. You can experiment this in your system, but I suggest you not to try this one. Okay, this second is also optional, but if you don't give break, our loop will continue forever. Now let's talk about third expression. Third expression is also optional. Basically, it will increment or either decrement the values based on the initial value. And same way, if expression 2 is returning true, then only it will come inside the loop, it will execute, and later on it will increment the value. If the expression 2 becomes false, it will not go to expression 3 and again it will not going to increment the value or decrement the value. This is all about our expression 3. I can give here minus minus. I will be getting the same result. Okay, let me just give a second condition. I is less than 10. I will save this. I will remove break from here. I will save. See, my loop is running forever. I'm just going to stop here. Break. Okay, this we should never do this one because our loop will keep on running because my value of I is 0, and here whatever value it will be decremented, it will always be less than 10. So my loop will run forever. You can see so many values I got, and also it will be using high CPU utilization. So now here I will just give 20. I will save this, and also I'm just going to remove. Actually, my browser, you can see my browser has crashed. It has stopped here. I will just reopen this. So never do that one. Okay, now I will be getting the result. Now here what happens? Now the value of I is equal to 20. So 20 is less than 10. This condition fails. I will not get any result. I will get this greater than. Then I will be getting the result. Now you can see first the value of I is 20. 20 is greater than 10. Yes, it is. So 20 will be displayed. Then it will decrement. Now the value of I is 19. 19 is greater than 10. It will be displayed. 19, 18 till 11 it will be displayed. Then again it will decrement. 10. Value of I is 10. 10 is greater than 10. No, it is not. So I will be coming outside of the loop and nothing will be displayed. So this is all about for loop. Expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3. All three expressions are optional in for loop, but we have to give semicolons if we omit the expressions. We have to initialize the value before for loop, and also we can increment it later or decrement it later. Okay, I will show you one more thing. Now this can be omitted, and here I am just going to write I minus minus. I will save this. Again, I will be getting the same result. But semicolon we have to give if we omit the third expression or first expression. Now let's talk about scopes inside this for loop. We have var, we have let, and we have const. Const we are not going to see. Now let me just write here let I is equal to 100. Now I'm just going to write here for loop. I have already initialized, so I'm not going to keep first expression. I is less than 105. I plus plus. I have given, and inside this I just want to display log. I will display I. I will save this. I will be getting this result. Now outside this, if I just display the value of I will save this. The value of I, what I got is 105. This value, whatever value I am having here, that will be displayed. I have not got this value. Last stage, the value, whatever I have increased here, that I got as the result. Now in the same way, if I just write here var, now also I am getting the same result. You can see for both of this, I got the same result because let and var, I have initialized it before. Okay, here I have initialized. Now what I will be doing, here I will just write let again. I is equal to, I will be giving different value here. I is equal to 90. Now I will save this. Now you can see based on this value, I will be getting the result. As we have already seen, let is a block scope. It will be started from here, and finally the value of I what I got at the end is 100. For let, whatever I am having outside, that will be displayed, but inside 105 I got here, but it will not be displayed. So you should be very careful on that. Now in the same way, if I use here var, I will save this. You can see now I got the result as 105. Because it is a global scope, whatever values I am having here, that can also be accessed here. So the value of I is updated here. So at the end, 105 will be displayed here, incremented. So the value of I will be 105. But in let, we will get the value as 100 because this let is outside. So I will get this value. So for this I, the life will be only till here. That's all about for loop. Next, we are going to continue about more loops and we are going to understand about this.